What is going on YouTube? Dr. Rod Wade here, and in this video, I'll be talking about the best free-to-play marches to start with in the season of Conquest. And before I really get too deep into the video, one of the things that I wanted to be very cognizant about is that yes, it would be way better for you to start off in the Season of Conquest using Season of Conquest commanders. And I'll definitely discuss that in this video. But there is a fairly big number of players who are coming to the Season of Conquest and their Alexander might still be working on the expertise. Maybe it's 5-5, 5-1 or some configuration like that. Their E-Song might not be expertise, and they're still going to work on slowly but surely expertise in those commanders. And they may not have, due to maybe some mistakes they've done in their gameplay or whatever the case may be, may not have the sculptures right away to invest in multiple, or in some cases maybe not even one or two Season of Conquest commanders. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So the first part will just be me talking about what are some good noteworthy pairs that you can do without using Season of Conquest commanders, because although these might not be the best combos, it's making use of what you already have, right? And there's no mistake that Alexander is on the screen. If you're using infantry, I'm a pretty strong advocate of almost everyone having Alexander the Great. I don't want to talk too much about his skills, but he has the instant proc damage. He has the shielding factor. With expertise, he has a very good damage debuff that he can put onto the enemy's AoE. Fantastic. All of his skills are relevant for the open field. I think that's a great starting point. Almost everyone is told to invest in Alexander. So I'm assuming that you have him at some type of configuration, right? You compare him with Sun Tzu, that'll provide a little bit of tankiness. If you want a little bit more damage and debuffs, kind of in a way, instant proc, you can also go with Jorn, fantastic option. If you're worried about getting swarmed or you just want to add some more tankiness to him, Martel is a great option, and Richard is a good option. I really don't like the Richard as much without an expertise, and as a free to play, you might not have an expertise. I do, but I think a 5-5, even 5-1 Richard, first three skills on Richard with Alexander the Great is still good in the Season of Conquest, and that's what you have, right? So utilize what you have. Now another noteworthy pair that is really good, not necessarily for kills or anything, but for survivability. And I'm on my alternate account that's already in Season of Conquest, because I wouldn't be able to show you all of the commanders that I'm going to show you in this video, is Martel with CPO. I think that pair is like really good for dealing with being swarmed. It's like going to happen in the Season of Conquest. People are, walking around with 6-7 marches. They're all gonna click that attack button on one person. You're gonna explode. Having the counter attack from Martel, having him at least 5-5, 1-1, having the counter attack Martel, some defensive stats to shield, combined with CPO's active skill that reduces the damage taken by 25% for 5 seconds, 25% more counter attack. You get a little bit more troops. When you have a chance when attack to dish out some attack, you have a huge amount of attack bonus. When you get low, a little bit of healing, which doesn't really matter as much. I think that's a good pair. I think that's a really good pair to utilize. Now, you can use Richard primary, but I would be very careful. Just because there's a lot of ways to counter his healing. He's not going to necessarily give you good trades, but what he will do is offer some debuffs and support on the battlefield. And I think if you have him expertise, especially if that's the case, then he still is very usable. I've made a video talking about why I think Richard is good, especially at the expertise level. I'll make sure that I put that video in the description. Okay, now I think Richard with Joan, but more so Ethel, is really good, because Ethel's going to be a commander that you might think about benching. And if you use her with Richard, the Richard Ethel combo is a way that you can really at least bring Ethelflaed to the field, because she really is an amazing commander. So I think not bringing her is bad if since you have her, right? It's an expertise legendary commander. So I think Richard is a good way to at least bring her out safely, safer, because I mean you're still going to not necessarily do the best. Okay, I think those are all the noteworthy infantry focused options without using Season of Conquest commanders. Now let's talk about a little bit about the cavalry. There's not as many options for cavalry, in my opinion, but maybe not, because with the relic buffs, some of these commanders are a lot better. But I don't want to talk about relics too much in this video. Okay, now if you can manage to get Saladin, right? 5551, great. Still holds up well in the Season of Conquest. Very tanky primary commander. Skill tree, you're not going to take as much skill damage in the open field. You can pair, if you don't have Richard, or Saladin honestly is a better option to pair Ethel with. So you could ignore Richard. If you have a Saladin, 5551 that you can utilize right away and then throw Ethel behind that, I think that's better than the Richard Ethel. You can also use Saladin with YSG still, although it's not the best. It's not. But at least I think a lot of the options for archers are really tricky to use when you're first starting out. And if you don't have access to any of the Season of Conquest commanders, I think bringing YSG on the field can be a little bit more complicated to do effectively. So I think Saladin YSG is still a good option, although you want to quickly probably move to getting a dedicated archer commander and another dedicated cavalry commander. Okay. Also, Belisarius, for all of the reasons that Belisarius, for all the reasons that he's good, he's super fast, mobile, kills kills gatherers. He's a gatherer hunter. Boom. You can use Belisarius like for that, or if you you don't have Saladin and you want to bring your calves out, and that's what you have. Belisarius with Belisarius with Bybars. If that's what you have, then just bring it out. Because you have to use what you have. Now, I think the archers are really, really tricky. The archers are really, really tricky because you got YSG, but most people don't invest in Edward. A lot of people may or may not have El Cid. If your El Cid's in an okay spot, maybe 5511 or something of that nature, then I guess you could use them. A lot of people may have El Cid like that, but if you went from KVK 1 just straight to the Season of Conquest and you never went back, your El Cid might not even be 5511, or it might be getting kind of close. You can always do YSG with Mehmed. That's probably what I'll do right away. And I think that it's okay. It doesn't have any march speed, but it does do great damage. It's very squishy, but this is where the relics kind of come in. Mehmed does give you 20% more health, and YSG gives you 10% more archer defense. So you do get 30% of defensive stats on that if you use the relic. So that kind of makes it a little bit better. And some of these relics are relevant for the other commanders that I mentioned real quick. Like Martel gets like I think 30% of stats. Richard gets like some march speed, a little bit of counterattack. So these commanders do get a little bit better. That allows them to not necessarily be on par, but allows them to be a little bit more effective and a little bit stronger than they were before. Right now, I said YSG Mehmed, and then you got to level up your YSG to 60. Most people don't like doing that because most of the time it's going to be a secondary. It's a little tricky. If you didn't want to do that, but still wanted to bring out archers, right? You could try, and I don't even know where the commanders are on this one. You can try Kusunoki, or you could get Kira. I don't know if I have her unlocked on this one. Or Kira, right? You can use Kusunoki or Kira as primaries. Of course, you're going to get focus probably because they're seeing a purple commander. But at least you're bringing out your archers. And if that's what you're trying to do, then that's what you're trying to do. And I feel like the archers are like really, really tough. to like utilize in an effective way early on. But I think the YSG Mehmed with the YSG primary is probably the best thing that you could do. There's some thing if you want to bring out an Archer March, like you could always put like Martell with YSG, Alex with YSG. Those are things that you can do, but then that's an infantry march at that point, right? And you're trying to bring out your archer troops. Okay. So I think I've adequately covered. The non-season of conquest commanders. And noting it is all of these marches that I've recommended are basically utilizing the top commanders that I spoke about in some of my previous videos, specifically the one where I talked about KVK 2 and 3 tier lists, those commanders, and then if you're bringing 1 to 5 marches in KVK 2 or 3, like what would those look like? So I'll make sure I post those in the description as well, because it's pretty much the same idea with that. It's like that's what you would use going into the season of Conquest if you wanted more insight about exactly what I'm talking about, because I'm kind of doing it a little bit faster. Okay, so now let's talk about season of Conquest commanders, right? I'll go through for each troop type. I think for infantry, CPO kind of made things a little different. And I think CPO is a phenomenal commander, but I think Guan Yu still is really good, right? If you can get Guan Yu to 5.1 XX, I don't care if it's like 5.1 like 2.3 or 5.1 2.2, or if you can get him to max the first skill, get a little bit going in these second skills, I think he's good to bring out on the field. So ideally what you could do if you could get a 5.1 5.5 configuration and use like 380 sculptures, that would be ideal. You might not have 380 sculptures, like I said before, to do that, and that's why I mentioned all the stuff previously. But just 5.1 XX and then work on him through the wheel after that, because he doesn't have to be necessarily expertise. His expertise only really matters mainly with CPO because of his shielding. I think that's the most relevant case for him now, being expertise. But beyond you pairing him with CPO, I think there's a strong feeling that I think he can still remain 5.1 5.5. Okay. Utilize him. You could just use Guan Alex, Guan with Alex, Guan with Richard, especially if he's expertise. I'll have to do a whole video on that because some people might disagree. Then I think Guan Sun Tzu is fine. Just get going. Right? Now, CPO is also very good. Some people might say, like, I don't want Guan right now. I want CPO. I think just starting CPO off 5.5 1.1. Phenomenal commander. You can pair him as a secondary. You can use him with Alex. You can use him as a primary. You may CPO Sun Tzu. I've seen him do a CPO Sun Tzu do actually okay, right? I think those are two really good options. I haven't seen any other ones other than like the Guan CPO. If you wanted to get both, get Guan Yu 5.1 5.5, get CPO 5.5 1.1. I think that's an okay march too. Right, and then noteworthiness, I'll mention this because I am an infantry main. If you wanted to try to like get Leo from an MGE or something like that, and you had a lot of sculptures like I do going into the season of Conquest, I think Guan, a Guan Yu 5.1 5.5, like I've been saying, with the Leo 5.5 1.1 is really good. And then at that point, if you can do something like that, your Alex's expertise, and maybe you go ahead and get CPO 5.5 1.1 just to get them going. So now you got two infantry marches that aren't perfect, but they're usable, right? And then you work on them more and more over time, right? I think that's something that you can do. Now, I want to talk about Cavalry, which isn't necessarily my expertise, and I have a big problem advocating for him because I feel like from what I've seen through live streams and gameplay and stuff like that, he gets focused way too much. But it would be undeniable to say that Zhang Yu XY has serious damage output. He's one of the only Cav commanders that does AoE damage. He has an insane debuff, on top of that, 3 targets, right? And it's a good area. It's not like Williams where it's like small, it's rectangular shaped or whatever. It's weird. Like it's a normal, it's a normal fan shape. I think to get him going, 5.5, 1.5, right? But if it's just 5.5, 1.1, you can use them. I would say, definitely. I don't know. You could use them as a primary, I guess. But I don't know. I have a big problem advocating for XY primary, but XY is good, right? You can also get, I think Nevsky is what I'm more of an advocate of, if I can find him here. Yep. Nevsky, if you can get him to 5.5.1.1 or 5.5.5.1, using him with, if you had a Minamoto, if you don't, Sao or Buy Bars or whoever, like insert Cav Commander here. Nevsky, anything I think is good. It's because he does crap tons of damage. He boosts his skill damage. He has good stats. Good debuff. I think it's pair him with any Cav Commander and he's okay. Boom, right? And then I think William is another noteworthy commander. He doesn't need that much investment at all. 5.5.1.1 gets you going. 5.5.5.1 is you can stop there if you don't want to expertise. I think it's a strong reason to expertise him now since Nevsky is so good if you want to do the Nevsky William combo. And if you had enough sculptures, I mean, it's quite possible to get, Nevsky and William going together. If you already had Saladin 5.5.5.1, right, before you got here, you can slap William onto that, right? Work on William, and then it doesn't take as many sculptures. That's just 380 sculptures to get a pretty much complete cavalry march. So that's something that you can do. Now, I want to talk a little bit about archers, and archers are still kind of tricky just because of the predicament right now, right? They've come out with the new generation of cavalry, the new generation of infantry, but we're still waiting on those archers. I honestly and confidently believe that they will come out with some insane, probably AoE, maybe not, but probably AoE archer commander. Okay. And when they do, I think it's going to make Ramsey look less appealing. It's going to make Nebu look less appealing to pair with your YSG. And you're desperately trying to do that. Now, this is where my alliance knowledge, comes into. By the time we probably queue up for Season of Conquest, we would have probably some information. If not, the commander has already come out. Our new archer commanders probably have come out by now. By that point where we queued up for our first KVK4. So for us, and at the time I'm making this video, if you're not in the Season of Conquest yet, but you're getting close, you can probably wait and not even invest in Nebu or Ramses. Just wait to see, right? Just wait to see if one of the archer commanders are going to be really good in open field, which I think one of them has to be. Otherwise, I feel like it'll be very unbalanced. Right? And then if it turns out that those commanders aren't, that commander isn't worth it, or the pair of archer commanders aren't worth pairing with YSG, then so be it. You can always do the 5.5.1.1 Nebu to get you started. If you can try to get this last skill done maxed as well, it will be better. His expertise isn't as transformative because all it is just a little bit more damage, 500 more damage factor to one target, right? So I don't think his expertise is as impressive. Now with Ramses, again, you could do 5.5.1.1 just to start. I like the 5.5.5.1 first 3 skills max just to start, and then you can work towards the expertise or just leave them there and pair it. You compare that with YSG. I'm not really a fan of Artemisia, although she is tanky. Doesn't have any march speed, right? A Monitore is the same way, where like you could pair her with YSG. you use her as a primary, but she's, you know, those two commanders, Artemisia and Monitori, are garrison, and you got to get them for MGE. That's a little bit tougher. And I think that Ramses and Nebu are better options. So that's what I would do. Something that you could work towards to just get started in the season of Conquest. And just to give you a recap, you know, a real good overview recap for your infantry. That's how I'm gonna do it. For your infantry, I think some marches that you can make. Just example, Guan with Alex would be very easy to do right off rip, but even better would be like a Guan CPO or Alex CPO. I think would be a little bit of a stronger pairing. You could also do Guan with Leo if you could get him, and then run your Alex with CPO. That's 2 marches. Very good. I think you wouldn't be going wrong there. For your cavalry, you can do something like Saladin William, Nevsky William for the season of Conquest. I think if you wanted to do more and you had more sculptures utilized, you could do like a XY Nevsky, Saladin William, 2 marches. And then for archers, I can't free to play, at least I can't really advocate for having more than 1 archer march at this time. But if it was gonna be one, it would be Ramses with Esong or Nebu with Esong. So there you go. Starting off season of Conquest, no sculptures. You're still working on your Alex or Esong. Up to I'm ready for season of Conquest fully. I got 1,400 sculptures, whatever. I got sculptures to spend on some of these new commanders. I've covered all the situations. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if only you enjoyed the video. Amen. You're a wonderful person, and I'll see you in the next video.